What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, coming at you all the way live. I'm in your space. I'm in your face. I'm definitely blessed to be here on this wonderful day. It is June 26th, 2026, here in the great state of Mississippi. We are live at 5 here on the Prime Time Network. I am your host, Big G. And you're now tuned into the delightful and delectable sounds and voice um, of, of course, yours truly here on Industry Talk. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to the live. Uh, I'm just checking everything, putting everything in check. Status, making sure that everyone can see us and hear us. Because today, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation indeed is going to take place on today. My good man, Stephen Gonzalez, is going to be in the building today. Yeah, Stephen Gonzalez. I told you about this before I went on my trip. And we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to talk about his life. We're going to talk about his service. We're going to talk about his creation. He is the founder of Visual. And we're going to get into what that is um, here in just a little bit. So while everyone is tapping in and getting notified, um, yeah, lock us in, tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure that's happening.
Hey, what it do, world? It's your boy, Comedian JB, the real J Braswell, Comedian J Braswell. Hey, dig this. I got a website, man. Tap in at jbcomedy.com.
Yes, indeed. Make sure you tap in with jbcomedy.com. My good man, Jarrell Braswell. Um, he may be joining us today. It's in and out, up and down, but looking forward to it if in fact he does. And of course, our good friend Terry Cherry may be in the building with us a little bit later on today as well. So let's go ahead on and jump this thing off the way that we do. All right. I'm just making sure, don't mind me, I'm just making sure that everything is up. You know, we're streaming across all platforms: Twitch, Kick, IG, LinkedIn, you name it, we're on it. But in the meantime, in between time, you know what I'm saying? Let me give a big shout out to my people. The real, the official Miss Jamaica, and my good friend, uh, ECEO.
It's about that time we decided we were going to do something a little bit different today, add some different elements to what we already do. It's going down, man, trying to figure out ways to break the algorithm, man. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to all our channels, all our different platforms. Boss Talk 101, Boss Talk 101 Prime Time. It's crazy. We got to get it done, though. Boss Talk 101, where the boss is talking.
Yes, indeed. Boss Talk Podcast 101, Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time, where the bosses talk. We're giving everybody enough opportunity to chime on in with us. I know how this thing goes down. So good evening, everyone. And welcome to another edition of Industry Talk, where we have real conversations with real people whose lives are making real impact. Tonight's guest of course, you know, he's he reminds us that some of the greatest innovations are not born in boardrooms. They're forged in life's hardest battles. Yeah. You understand where I'm going here in just a minute. Stephen Gonzalez served our nation as a specialist within the United States Army's 1st Infantry Division during Operation Iraq Freedom, working alongside the task force, JIEDDO. And let me give you a little preface. Okay, I can't just say things and not reinforce what those things are. The Joint Improvised Explosive Device DeVict Organization. Okay. These individuals, it kind of started with a 12-man crew, and it kind of expanded into over 1,900 personnel, and a mandate to tackle IEDs as a strategic weapon of influence. 4 main lines: attack the network, disrupting the funding, development, and logistical supply chains behind IEDs, improvised explosive devices, defeat the device, researching, testing, and rapidly acquiring technologies to neutralize bombs and protect warfighters in the field, and train the force, preparing troops with realistic counter IED simulations. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole rundown and the draft of the make of that particular group, but just understand that what he was doing was serious business in one of the most dangerous environments of the Iraq war. But like so many veterans, his toughest battles began after he came home. He faced trauma, addiction, homelessness, repeated relapse, devastating personal loss, and moments where hope itself seemed impossible to find. Instead of allowing those experiences to define him, Stephen transformed those things into purpose. Out of that journey came Vigil, VIGIL, ladies and gentlemen, Vigil, a continuity system designed to help veterans and trauma survivors maintain clarity, identity, and stability during the difficult moments between treatment and everyday life. Tonight isn't simply a conversation about military service. It's a conversation about rebuilding identity. It's about surviving when the system isn't enough. It's about turning pain into purpose, and it's about asking one of the most important questions facing our country today. How do we truly support those who have sacrificed so much after they come home? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, please give a warm welcome to Army veteran and founder of and the visionary behind Vigil, Mr. Stephen Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez.
How's it going?
I am fantastic, sir. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. It's amazing.
Nah, well, you know, it's not too amazing. It's pretty straightforward and simple. I got a call. Jay Shaw said, "Hey, man, you need to talk to this guy. He's got a great story. He's got some things going on." I reached out. You reached back out. We made contact, and guess what? We are here.
Right.
Yeah. So it was just that simple. It's not like it was rocket science or something that had to, yeah. But yeah, everybody that's tuned in, tapped in, locked in right now, make sure you share this live. Before we dig too deep off into this conversation, I want y'all to share this live. And thank you, Steve. What would you rather be called? Steven, Mr. Gonzalez. What do you want me to call it?
Steve's fine. Steven Wood. You know, I've had many names.
Okay. I want to know what to call you. You know what I'm saying? Well, first of all, let me say thank you for your service. I appreciate you. And ladies and gentlemen, he asked me to make sure. He asked me to make sure that I get this part of the interview right, regardless of what else may be said or what else is going on. He said, for the audience and friends that are out there that are paying attention, that are locked in, if you see his eyes starting to look kind of crazy, if he's off in the distance and they start to wandering or he's looking kind of crazy, hit him up. Hit him up. He may be on the brink of snapping, going a little crazy. He might have a little Tourette's going. I'm not sure what's going on, but this nigga might snap online, y'all. I don't know.
You know,
I think why he built Visual, but we gonna make sure that we don't hit no triggers, no points of, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to have him to have an instant recall. None of that shit today. See, I be having to walk on eggshells with Jay Shaw, because Jay Shaw, he'll snap. He'll get real, you know. Next thing you know, goddamn G.I. Joe and motherfucking Rambo all in one is ready to come through the damn screen on your ass. So just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been told through mental health professionals that I can't say this. I cannot say this, so I'm not really saying this. You know what I'm saying? This goes out to Jarrell Braswell and the Jonathan Shaw and all of my good military veterans that are out there that have gone through some shit. I understand it, but y'all niggas crazy. I'm just saying, I can't say that. So I didn't really say that, Gonzalez. I didn't really say that.
You know what, sir? It comes down to, hey, it's. I'm a firm believer in being able to say what you want when you want.
Okay. But they might kick me off this platform because they think I'm bullying or talking. No. Delta Recon, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn the Marines, Force Recon, Army Battalion searching for IEDs and technical strength. Yeah, no. Jay Shaw was going over some of the locations and places that he was touched down in Iraq earlier this morning. No, y'all niggas crazy. Y'all crazy.
Yeah. We that was a hell of a way for us to start our morning. We had a video meeting after that. We're like, whoa.
Gonzalez, who the hell you know gonna goddamn flying on a helicopter with cover fire, and you sitting there no. Yeah, your ass is puckered up and you goddamn ready. No, you don't know what to do. I'm froze up like a popsicle. You know what I'm saying? And he telling to jump off the goddamn helicopter. No, I'm going back with y'all. Well, I'm going with y'all. Let's get back to safety.
Yeah, that's not
jumping off the goddamn helicopter. I'm jumping off into the smug. No. For what?
Yeah.
Man,
you know, I was telling Shaw this morning too. I was like, that was a hell of a welcoming party.
Yeah. But but Gonzalez, don't hold it against me. I've been told by mental health professionals like Emily Mitchell, Lamont Mitchell, and Kiara Isham that I can't use those types of words. But I'm just saying, man, you know, you got to be a little off to run towards bullets. I think we all a little. I'm gonna say it, we all crazy in some type of way. And wait, Gonzalez, you a special kind of crazy, my guy. You are on a joint task force to go hunt down and strategically find and disarm IEDs. Are you out your damn mind?
Yeah. So what happened was that I was voluntold. So we have a thing in the military, right? You get voluntold. So it's not you volunteering, but you're told to volunteer. So
got you. Gotcha.
You have a choice, but you don't have a choice.
Right.
So you know, like, but you know, it was a good experience. It was a terrible experience, but it was a good experience. You know, like we talk about all the time about how the military was some of the best, worst, greatest, shittiest time of our lives.
I can tell. I can see. I mean, just by your complexion, it blew some of the black off your ass. I know. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I know you didn't took some wrong steps and be like, oh shit. Yeah. But let's get into it, man. We just having fun. I'm just messing with you, man. But I'm serious. Y'all some crazy niggas, man. It is what it is. But you know, I've seen some crazy moments overseas. I really have. But listening to Shaw this morning, you guys going over some things in today's what I would call after action report, years after action. Yeah, y'all lost y'all damn mind. So take us back, Gonzalez, to your decision to join the Army. What motivated that choice?
Well,
and look, don't take it the wrong way, but I'm gonna give you the full screen because I want to catch you in full screen mode as we go through this interview. You cool with that?
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Good stuff. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Wonderful. Yes, the platform is yours. So talk to me, man.
Right.
Your decision to join the Army and what motivated that choice.
Well, you know, I had a very different upbringing growing up. I left home when I was 13, you know, so I pretty much raised myself. Had no family support, so you know, I ended up in a group home when I turned 16 and was there till I was 18. Went, signed up for the military, for the Army. And then, I turned 18, you know, so I went about my life and forgot all about it until one day my life was kind of turning upside down. So didn't have many options. I was either going to end up dead or in prison. So a recruiter showed up that I engaged with prior to that, and he went to my hometown. My aunt showed him where I was. Dude gave me an option. He was all like, I want you to think about what you're doing right now. What do you got going for you? And he was like, think about it. And I was like, not a damn thing, honestly. He was like, what's holding you back here? Nothing. And he was like, get in the car. He was all like, in 24 hours, you'll be in basic training. So I made that choice. I jumped in the vehicle. 24 hours, I was in a plane to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and was in basic training, not knowing what the hell I was getting myself into. So it was definitely an experience, man. And
okay. So well, I don't want to fast track past basic, you know. But I do want to get into what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So what was daily life like serving with the 1st Infantry Division during Operation Iraqi Freedom? What was that like?
You know, it was definitely different. You know, the whole atmosphere shifted as soon as we hit ground. Like, again, as we talked about this morning with Shaw on his YouTube channel. You know, that military point of view, you guys make sure you guys check it out. Some good shit there.
Hold up, man. Stop trying to drop little shameless plugs for people, man. We ain't on here dropping commercial. You see, you in shop. Hey, man, look, man.
That's my brother.
I appreciate the plug, but we talking about visual. We talking about Steven. He over here dropping. Shaw, you see this? He over here trying to drop commercial plugs for inside point of view. Ain't that so? I appreciate that. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
But it all ties together though, because you know it was at this point, you know, deploying to Iraq is where me and Shaw developed a bond. You know, like it really strange. Shaw had my back in a lot of situations, and Shaw's always been one of those guys that he's there for you 100% once you're locked in with him. The loyalty is beyond anything that I've ever experienced.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, being in that type of environment, it definitely changes your perspective. And at the time, you don't think about it, because you're running on instinct, you're running on adrenaline, you're running on lack of sleep. We were pulling 2-week missions. 2-week missions, we're getting about, maybe, if we're lucky, maybe 8 hours a week of sleep, maybe.
Right.
And that's not even consistent. That's not at a straight time. That's between days.
Yeah.
So, you're running on lack of sleep. You're running on pure adrenaline, pure instinct. So that was pretty much how our time there was, and we got into some situations and we definitely suffered some losses there and when we came back home. And but the thing about it is, like, when most people join the military, I'm not saying everyone, but when most people join the military, it's not so much for patriotic duty that they stay. It's for the relationships. It's the relationships and that you build that make it worthwhile. It wasn't so much for me personally, it wasn't so much for my country. It was for those beside me, like Shaw, Luna, Hargis, Walker, Santos, I can name a whole lot of people. But these are the guys who helped us push through these days, those moments, and like.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this then, because you were in a situation where you're coming out of the system, basically. 13 on your own, doing your own thing, had to make a decision. You were convinced basically to join the military, which obviously was the best thing for you, given the situation and circumstance. But you're still young. You're still impressionable, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what you're taking in. But in your particular situation, you didn't have anyone else, so to speak, to fall back on at home.
Yeah, I grew up alone. And that's kind of how, like, I thrive. So, like, a lot of us, you'll see, we thrive in chaos. When things are slowed down and things are normal, it gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
We get fidgety, we get anxious. But when those chaotic situations happen, those moments, it's literally where we thrive in.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like in those moments, that's when you have full control, because you're able to adapt. You're able to see things that are going to happen. You can prepare for multiple situations. You're constantly training and planning for the unknown. And and I lived my life like that growing up, and in the military, it gave me more skills. It definitely gave me better skills. And growing on after, and dealing with I didn't even know I had PTSD until years later. I just thought, it was all masked anyways by the drinking, then the drugs started, and then my life started spiraling out of control. I lost my family multiple times.
Okay, hold on. You trying to fast track us before we get into all of that, because I mentioned it in the opening, and I guess you're drawn towards that part of the conversation, but we have to get to what puts you there. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk about how you got into that position. You know what I'm saying? Because stressful situations like working on that task force and doing what you were doing. You have leadership, you have responsibility, you have your comrades' lives in your hands because of the job that you're being tasked to do. But like you said, you still saw losses of life in combat overseas.
Yep.
Things that you don't want to see, but things that you hear about and things that you witness and things that you are part of that stay with you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm recycling back to that. My first mission, our first mission that we went on, we're setting up a COB, which is a command outpost base. All right. And this is like a satellite base, basically. And not to get into too many details, and I'm not trying to trigger nobody or anything like that, so I do apologize. But we get there. The first thing that happened is our crane operator was unalived. They threw his brother up on there to work, right after the situation happened. And this is an Iraqi national. And, me and 3 other guys, we ended up getting left behind there at that COB with no security. We took smart alarms, fire, and all throughout the night, and during that night, I was radioing for support, and that support never came. So we rode the night out. And that was my first mission, and that was my first experience when of ever truly really feeling like this could be the night, this could be the day that I don't make it back home. Even with calling for help, you know what I mean? That kind of does something to you whenever you're in this position, and the people who are the leadership that's supposed to be there to support you, they don't. And that kind of stuff it does something to you, and it stayed with me for many years, and it's still there. And that was just the first time. I got left another time. I was running down a route Irish, is like one of the hot spots out there in Iraq, with no weapon for 2 miles before somebody came back for me. So whenever that position opened up with Task Force Giedo, even though I was told to go there, it was like one of the best things that happened, because after that, I didn't have to deal with the leadership I had. And we went through some stuff with them too, but I didn't get abandoned. So
okay, so let's address that a little bit, right? Because now you're in a situation to where you're taking fire all through the night. You call for backup, so to speak, and in that moment, you realize that even in this situation, I'm still fucking alone.
Yeah,
I have to, in regardless of what else is going on, I have to fighting for survival. That's the least of my worries, because I have no choice in this matter. I have to defend myself, because there's no telling when help is really going to come. So my life is basically on the line. That's the only thing you could be thinking about at that time. Process in less than a second, because if you sit there stuck in it, you're going to die. You have to be on point, paying attention to covering your ass and the other 2 individuals, because you said just 3 of you, in that particular situation at the COB. So now, once you get back into a safe situation, because none of the situation was safe at any given point in time, but in a safer situation, what was the thought process then? How were you looking at your supervisors? You say you moved to the task force, but still running up against some issues. What was the working order of how your brain processed things moving forward?
Oh, so I was already a very stubborn and outspoken individual prior to this. With that current leadership that I had there, we had issues prior. Just because I'm a firm believer in, your actions speak louder than your words. Like, you can say something all day, but if you can't show it, you shouldn't be telling me nothing. You know, I believe respect is earned, not freely given. You know, you got to show me something. I'm just not going to respect you because your rank says I should. You got to show me why. And I don't know. And again, like during those times, and especially after that, I didn't really have time to process it, you know, because we're constantly busy. We stayed busy.
Right.
So you don't really have time to process all this stuff that's happening to you. And, you know, it doesn't really show up until later.
Okay. So let's talk about the later. Let's get into the later a little bit. When you come home, right? Because we're gonna go back. I'm gonna backtrack. But
Yeah.
when you come home, what surprised you most about the transition back to civilian life? You see, because you're saying you don't really realize what effect war has, or those types of situations, seeing death, you know, going through, being used to hearing mortar rounds and fire, and that's the norm, you know, like you're getting used to this stuff. So when you're back home and you're in civies, you're a civilian now at this point, and life is definitely not the same. It is not. You're not on high alert. You're not having to stay on ready or on go because you're surrounded by danger, but you're back home. So are you really safe? So let's talk about that.
No. So I know for me, I can speak for myself and some of my brothers, but for me personally, no. I was steady on alert. It's called hyper vigilance. It's where you stay on a high alert, like you said, a high alert. It doesn't go away. And again, like you're so used to it that you don't even know what you're doing. Like it's all instinct. So the short fuses, the always looking around, the always paranoid, always prepared for danger to come, planning for the worst constantly, never really focusing on the hope of. That was the one thing, you know, the hope. So I stayed in a whole different state of mind. And again, you don't catch it until years later. Because again, you're so used to running in this type of mentality. And it's crazy because in that amount of time that we spent there, it was enough to affect my life for the next 20 years. But it didn't go away, you know, like I was always constantly watching my surroundings, checking people, making sure, always prepared for an attack. I think the worst things when I came back, and when most of us came back, was when you're driving down the road and a piece of trash flies across the highway or the road, and you start getting your anxiety starts skyrocketing from a piece of trash.
So explain that a little bit.
So out there in Iraq, the Iraqis used to bury IEDs and stuff under trash. So, you know, when you see objects, trash or whatnot laying in the road, it's more likely than not it has an improvised device under it.
Right.
And so, you know, and it's just that type of alertness that you have to maintain when you're out there, that it really follows you back when you come home. So
okay, and thank you for explaining that, because a lot of people might not understand how something so small, so subtle, could actually be something so devastating and catastrophic if in fact you're not on alert and vigilant and paying attention. You know, and that could be within a split second, you know. So you always having to be on the lookout as you're driving, convoys moving, whatever the case may be. Anything's possible. So you speak openly about addiction,
Yeah.
homelessness. I'm not saying that you talked about the suicidal thoughts. I didn't mention anything like that, but um, why was it important for you to be open and honest about your story and telling your story? Why is this important? Let's get to that part of it for you and
Yeah.
for other individuals that are looking to utilize the visual system, because we're going to
Yeah.
start talking about visual here in just a minute.
Okay. So I worked as a peer support specialist for a few years, about 4 years,
Okay.
and doing that, I was able to interact with a variety of individuals. Most in recovery. Some of them are coming out of prison, but in readjusting to life. But we had veterans, and I was a veteran myself, and but I found that the peer support program is really great because you're able to really relate to someone based on your experiences.
Hmm.
And that's one thing you'll learn is that your journey, the journey of your life, and the things you survived can really make a impact on an individual, whether you know it or not.
Right.
They can really make an impact on someone's life. You never know what someone's going through. You never know how your words or your survival or your ability to overcome a situation it can really relate to someone else, and how they can take that and use it to better themselves, their life, their situations. Just by simply sharing your experiences, it definitely makes a difference in someone's life. And again, it's not something you'll more than likely you'll ever know, but sharing the story, and sharing your background, it's a really important thing, not just for others, but for yourself, because it allows you to get to process some of those emotions and some of those traumas that you've experienced. So,
Okay. So you became like you said, a certified peer
peer
support
support.
specialist. Yeah. So how did helping others affect your own healing?
It gave me a sense of purpose
Okay.
for a while, for a while, but it's a catch-22, to put it in other words. It's a great thing because you're doing a service to others, and during those engagements, you're able to share and heal. You watch other people grow, you watch yourself grow, you start seeing the changes um during these moments. But it gets to the point where you connect. For me, I couldn't really find anyone to relate with me. So,
Hmm. Okay.
you
So
know,
based on what you just said, you often say, "I needed a me for
for
me."
me, yeah.
Yeah. So what does that phrase really mean? Let's get off into that.
All right. So the me for me came from, there was an incident that occurred. I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not trying to trigger myself, but
Hmm.
there's an incident that occurred regarding one of our brothers. I had received the news, and I was working at a peer support at the time, and situation happened, and I ended up surrounded by some of my coworkers, and they're like, they're concerned about me. They're like, "What's going on? You need to talk to someone." And I looked at these guys and these people, my coworkers, and I was like, which one of you is honestly going to be able to relate to me? Which one of you is honestly going to be able to sit there and shoulder that weight that I have? Which one of you can carry that load? And I told them, I was like, none of you. I was all like, none of you can. I was like, I need a me for me, but there's not. And you know, I didn't think about this again for years, not until I created visual. But yeah, no, this that was a reflection and a realization I came to about 5 years ago now, 4 years ago.
Okay. Okay. And so within that realization and actualizing that, um, how does that become the foundation for visual?
Yeah, so as I said, these last 7 months of my life were pretty chaotic. I had relapsed. Um, you know, I lost my mother in January, and so it was really after that, man. Like my life
Yeah.
really started going down a path of this. I was just done. I was tired,
Okay.
and I just wanted some peace.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And you know, so losing my mother the way I did, and it hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. You know, like
Mhm. Okay. All right.
uh,
Hold on a second, Gonzalez. Hold on a second. Now, let me explain something to you. Right. This is you and me having a conversation.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
I can see where you're reflecting, trying to come with an answer, and I don't want you to have to fight this, right? Because I don't want you to go into a state that I can't bring you out of because I'm not a
Oh,
therapist. No, listen to
yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying. Listen,
no, no.
I'm
I
not a therapist.
appreciate that, but
Yeah, because
you
I want
know,
you to. This is what I want to do. I want you to talk to. And we're going to reschedule some stuff because we're not done. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because I want to talk about Vigil, but I want you to talk to Emily Mitchell. I want you to talk to a Kiara Isham, so they can sit there and give you what you need on the therapist side of it. Not to say that you need it. I'm just saying in terms of having that conversation because you and me, you and I, that's just brothers having conversation, right?
yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
I
and
apologize, man. I wasn't trying to go down.
no. I want
Yeah.
you to. I want you to, but at the same time, I don't want you to
To
get
lose
into a.
it.
No, it's cool losing it, but I don't want you to get into a state to where it's okay. We get off of
Yeah,
this live,
yeah.
and then
Well,
you go tear up the Walmart because you're like,
no,
damn, I
no.
wasn't
Check it out,
really
sir. That's exactly why I built Vigil.
right. Okay, yeah,
You know, yeah, no, that's I wouldn't be talking about this if I didn't feel comfortable enough to process and handle it. Because again, this was a different.
but you're still human, Gonzalez. Okay, now,
Oh,
okay, you just like you are just like every other man that's out there, and I fall into the same position. I want to play the tough guy role,
oh
right?
no, I'm not a tough guy by any means.
No, not okay. Not say tough guy, but put on the face. I want to
Yeah.
put on the face,
Oh
but
no,
at
no,
the
no.
same time, I'm still hurting. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't want you to really see me hurting, but I'm really fucking hurting over here, and I'm trying to explain to you what I'm going through. And I guess tough guy role is just what I'm saying because of the bravado but I'm talking about the hurting, the pain, and
Yeah.
I can see it. I don't know if
Oh yeah.
anybody else is paying attention, but I
Yeah.
can see it as you're talking about it. It's not easy. It's not easy talking about loss. It's not easy talking about your friends that have lost their lives or being in situations to where you've seen your friends lose their lives. I mean, close brothers and sisters in arms, or even
Yeah.
more so coming home and not having the assistance in the therapy or the conversation that you need, and you see individuals go down that road of addiction or
Yeah.
contemplating suicide. They end up in homelessness types of situations because they don't know how to cope or deal with what they're dealing with. You just so happen you learned how to deal with it.
Exactly.
You learned how to deal with it, and you've created that system for, and you say, I need a me for me, and you're talking to therapists. You weren't in the military. You can't tell me what I experienced. You can't carry this burden. So I understand exactly what you're saying. So when I see you, you know, especially when you start talking about mom passed, and that in itself was just another level of grief that you weren't ready to deal with, compounded with everything else that comes, right? I'm not.
But you know that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you know that's life, man. You know, at the end of the day, that's life and that's reality,
right?
And it's again, that's something that everybody struggles with, and we all have to deal with,
right?
And again, this is touching back to Vigil. This is what it was made for, because as I was going through all this, I realized that support is not a continuous thing. You know, it's a matter of convenience. Not to be a dick, not trying to sound like people don't care, but people have lives. They got lives, they got other obligations. So that constant support is it's a matter of convenience, you know, and support is not always going to be available in those moments when it really counts.
Right.
You know, because when you're sitting there, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and all those thoughts are flooding.
Yeah.
Most people are asleep. Most people are working, you know, people got lives. And unfortunately, you know, there's situations that don't require a crisis team. Yeah. There's situations that do not require a crisis team. I've been affected by that.
Maybe not for the normal man, but let's keep it 100. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. You've gone through military training, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps. I don't know about SpaceX, but you know the core. You know the core branches that we're the traditional core branches that we're familiar with. Every last one of those individuals, whether you realize it or not, are trained to kill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's not normal. That's not a normal civilian.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So we're saying, you know, hey man, no, that is not normal. So how you handle and talk to this individual, or how you position yourself to be able to talk to this individual, is totally different, because the mindset is totally different.
Yeah, and that's the issue with that's the issue now, because so many programs are geared towards that one size fits all, that one size shoe fits all, and that's not the case. Like,
not at all.
You know, it's not reality at all, because what works for 100 people is not going to work for another 100.
Yeah,
and that's math. It's averages. It's you know, but they do their best. People are doing the best they can with what they got.
Okay, so with that being the case, you knowing that, how does Vigil stand alone in terms of curtailing some of the things that we're talking about right now, and being that assistance in that continuity type of a situation? Like, in the moment, I could get on to Vigil, I can go through the process. Talk to us about that. And the importance of what Vigil provides for individuals, and not just military veterans that are going through PTSD and high stress situations. Please explain.
Yeah. So what separates Vigil from all the tools that are out there now is that Vigil focuses on the individual. On the individual. It's not the masses. You're never gonna experience the same interaction anyone else does. You know, like it's geared towards you specifically. What works for you, even as far as the tones and the dialect of the interaction will be catered to you only. So it's effective and it's able to reach you. So, and that's what Vigil does. It maintains that constant presence. So it's a system that's never going to leave you. It's always there for you. Don't matter what time, what you're going through. You're always going to have support. And it's just there as a tool, though. You know, it's not a medical professional. It's not a psych. All Vigil does, to put it in simple terms, it's your true reflection. So Vigil is designed to help bring you back to your identity. To your identity. No one else's, nothing, no fucking the other guy, this person over here. No, yours. So all the tools, the strengths, and the values that you have and that we sometimes lose sight of over time and through trauma and events in life, Vigil helps you get that back and helps you see that through the interactions. It helps you see that the struggles you went through, the trauma that you survived, all those were because of your strengths and your core, your principles, your values. All those things played a part in you getting to that part in life and surviving all that, which is what we forget. We tend to forget how strong we are, and we start looking at things like, so I always had a viewpoint of, oh, I've been through worse. I can fucking get through this. And it's kind of a shitty way to look at life, you know, like, oh, I've been through worse. And so when you come up on a situation or a life event where it's a struggle and you're telling yourself, oh, I've been through worse, so this ain't shit, but you're not really dealing with it. You're running away from it. You're not processing it no more. And you lose sight of those tools, and you lose sight of the tools, the values you have, and the strengths that allow you to fucking surpass that event. Vigil reminds you of that. Vigil shows you who you really are. And again, it's made to be used adjacent to psychiatrists and facilities and real human support, because we all need that human interaction. We do. We're social people. So Vigil is simply there to stand guard, to stand that watch when it's not readily available. So you're never alone.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, Mr. Gonzalez. How many veterans do you believe are surviving today instead of truly living because the support system ends too soon?
I'll say a lot. And 90.
Give me a hard line statistics, and this is your opinion, but 35%, 85%, 75%. What do you think the number is? You know, people that have come back from,
I'll say at least 85.
War,
if I'm being honest, about 85%.
85%. That they're just surviving, not really living.
Yeah, just surviving. Because, and again, people manifest that in different ways. Some use that to drive them. Just drive them a different way, man. Like some can overcome it, and some have that. They're able to find that foundation again sooner than others. You know what I mean? Like some people are able to get back on steady ground faster. But for the majority of us, and I can only speak for myself and the ones that I know, we've all battled this for years and years, and we're still battling it now. Again, it's a daily thing, you know. It doesn't just go away.
Okay, so that leads me directly into my next question. If you could redesign the veteran mental health care system from the ground up, what would be the very first thing that you would change? And we're talking about the VA system, how veterans are dealt with, the whole process. In your mind, how do you revamp that whole situation so that it really helps, so it's there for true assistance?
I would say for me personally, I would have to say, you know, looking at the individual, because they view us as a mass. They put us all into one category or the other. You know, we're not looked at as individuals anymore. We're not looked at as our individual situations. We're put into one group or another. And they loses sight on that. And again, it's not from the lack of the intent of them trying to do their best, but it's just that it's not readily available, you know, like it's not there yet.
Okay, so I'm not gonna let Unc off like that, right? You letting Unc off. So let me ask you this one. When I say Unc, I'm talking about Uncle Sam.
Yeah, I know.
So you know, why do you think our nation does such a remarkable job of preparing a soldier? They spend millions, they put millions of dollars into each individual soldier, right? To prepare them for war, to prepare them and to brainwash them in a sense, to go out there and run through a brick wall for their country. And at that point, like you said earlier, it becomes about brotherhood. So it's no longer about that over there. It's about us protecting each other, having each other's back, building that loyalty and that system out here in the field, right?
Yeah.
But the struggles to prepare them for life after service is deplorable. Why is that?
I think it just comes down to numbers. You know, they know that they can cycle through others. So we just get kind of forgotten.
That's kind of harsh, Gonzalez.
It is, but it's facts. You know, we're replaceable.
Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting that answer. That's kind of a deep dive into, should I join the military because this is going to be the end result at the end of the day.
You know, and that I'm a strong believer in individual choices. You got the right to choose your own path.
Right. Correct.
You know, I wouldn't, but for me personally, I would not take back anything I've done. My experience there allowed me to grow and be the person who I am now. It allowed me to grow and experience and get to this point where now I created a tool that's gonna give that assistance, that support. Had I not experienced none of that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Okay, so with that being the point that you just made, what would success look like if every veteran leaving treatment had a reliable continuity system like Vigil? Talk to us.
You know, it gives it, so something like this gives them that foundation. Like I was saying, you get that foundation, that support, and again, like touching back on that toughness, you know, that bravado, that macho-ness. We get so stuck in that way of thinking, you know, like, oh well, we gotta suck it up, drink water, and drive the fuck on, you know, we gotta deal with it. But that's not the case, you know. But again, unfortunately the reality is that if we go to a facility and we start expressing how we're feeling and how we're thinking, we're instantly categorized and we're going to be put into a psych ward. Our rights are taken away. Our livelihoods are put into effect. Our you know, everything starts playing a factor, you know. Then you get the stigma of, oh, those motherfuckers are crazy. They're unstable. And unfortunately, that sticks with people. You know, like, well, fuck, I'm crazy. All right. Like I've literally had three therapists quit on me and tell me I needed to find assistance somewhere else because there's nothing they could do for me. And when you get told 3 times that they recommend that you see someone else, you know, what's the point of trying? And unfortunately, that I'm not the first one. I won't be the last one that's happened to.
Okay, so here at Industry Talk, and I'm not just utilizing Industry Talk as the platform, just us as brothers, us having conversation, us getting on the phone or getting on this squawk box virtually and having these conversations. Because Shaw will tell you with me, it's not even about being on this thing. I'll talk to you off camera as often as I need to, and we'll be a part of your support network. All you got to do is call, and I answer. Right? That's because that's the relationship I want to build with you, knowing that, hey man, somewhere along the line, you have to have some semblance of understanding of what our veterans are going through, and not so much just the veterans, because I'm talking about a veteran situation right now, individuals that have gone through wartime situations, but humanity and what humanity goes through. Because you say also that it's not just for, you're realizing that it's not just for disabled veterans or individuals that are going through it. It's for anybody that needs that assistance. Yes.
Yes. I got I have my daughter. My daughter just showed up right now, so she's staying with me for the summer. But my daughter, she's gone through some losses recently, first with her grandmother, then with her grandfather. And I'm not saying I'm the best father. I'm not saying I'm the worst. But what I'm saying is, like, there's a moment when she reached out to me and I couldn't be there physically for her. It just wasn't going to happen. And the only thing I can offer her was Vigil. And that's a hard thing for any parent, is to not be there physically for your children. But I was able to give her this system, and it helped her. She engaged with Vigil. She shared her thoughts with it. She got her input back, and she was able to make some strides to work through that. And she's 15 years old. Never been through the military, never been through real trauma, nothing like that, nothing major. But the loss of two grandparents is a pretty huge impact within a year time, And so again, it's for anybody, it doesn't matter you served or not. It's just something that's for you.
Okay. So how about we do this? And I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Can we, because whether you realize or not, we've been talking for an hour.
Yeah, I just seen it right now.
Yeah, it might not seem like we've been talking like, when the conversation's good, man, it just flows like that.
Yeah.
But I want to bring you back so that we can chop it up and get more into
Vigil.
Into Vigil, get into your life, get into your stories some more, and really bring it full circle. If you don't have a problem with that.
Nah.
Okay, good.
I'm all for it, like.
Good stuff. Now at the same time, I also need you to give the folks a little input on how they can tap in with Vigil, the website, how to get to it, the whole 9 yards, how to reach out to Steven Gonzalez. Give the people some background on how to reach out to you, your social media and your website, Vigil.
Yeah. So we do have a live Facebook page right now, and you'll be able to find the link to Vigil on there. It's Vigil Systems LLC. It's on Facebook, and you'll be able to, like I said, the links are directly on there. Sign up, get approved. My phone number's on there. Everything, all my contact information. So if you need to reach out, have a conversation, and you just want a quick rundown on how it works or how most effectively to use it, I'm available 24/7. I barely sleep anyways as it is. So,
what's the website, Steve?
It's Vigil Sys. So Vigil SYS LLC.com. And let me just go ahead and say I posted it on Facebook earlier on our page and stuff that I am currently updating Visual. It's getting some enhancements. It's going to be a lot more of an experience. Let me just say that. It's really going to benefit a lot more people. So, but again, there is a link on our Facebook that you can access. And but this I'm building up this new code. I just created a new update, so we're gonna be pushing it over this weekend. So it's gonna be amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, I am excited. I'm excited for Visual. I'm excited about what you have created and what is out there available right now for the people that are dealing with tense situations, and they need that
support,
that support, that continuity system of support, you know. And of course, give it a try, you know. Tap in with Stephen Gonzalez and walk through the system and see how it can be your support system in your time of need. Let me come back on the screen with you right quick.
All right.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Great conversation. Great conversation.
Yeah, my eyes were growing cross-eyed there. I was like, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Steve, tonight, you know, you've reminded us that courage doesn't end when the battlefield disappears. Sometimes the greatest act of bravery is asking for help. Sometimes it's choosing to stay when your mind tells you to leave. And sometimes it's taking your deepest pain and transforming it into something that can save someone else's life. Your journey is one of service, sacrifice, resilience, and innovation. Visual wasn't created from theory. It was created from lived experience. And that makes its mission deeply personal. Thank you for your service to our country, for your honesty, and for continuing to fight for veterans and others who may feel forgotten. To everyone watching tonight, remember this: healing isn't weakness. Asking for help isn't surrender. And your story isn't over simply because you've endured difficult chapters. I appreciate you, Brother Gonzalez, and we'll see you next time on Industry Talk. Stay safe, keep building, and continue making an impact in your community. I appreciate you, Brother Gonzalez, and to everyone that has been tapped in with us today on Industry Talk. Y'all know with me, it's always about health, wealth, wellness. Man, stay dangerous. What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G. And this is my personal invite to all of you to join me on Industry Talk on the Prime Time Network daily at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I get into great conversations with entrepreneurs, artists, industry leaders, you name it, we bring it to the table. So make sure you tap in with us, lock us in, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And we stream on all major platforms. And be sure to visit us at gemsitpublishing.com. This is Industry Talk. Let's get into it.
Motion.